Hi everyone, welcome to our HER LearnXNetwork session with Manjit Kaur from GDP Capital. And today she's going to share with us on the topic Beyond Profit, investing in people, purpose, and with positive impact. Hi Manjit, welcome to our show. And I'd love you to share with us more about yourself, your background, and also, what inspired you to be in the field that you're in today.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for having me, by the way. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Manjit. And I actually come from a corporate background, decades and decades of human capital development, business excellence, and fintech experience. And now I'm an entrepreneur. I am my husband's business partner, and we do have a range of businesses that we're involved in. Impact investing is one of them. And I also have my very own small boutique consulting outfit, which I do purely out of passion.
All right. And, how did you first realize that, financial success and social impact could and should go hand in hand?
Actually, my realization first came through years of working in both finance and human capital development. That was when I saw firsthand how businesses can thrive when they align profitability with purpose. And there was this one defining moment when I was engaged in projects focused on financial inclusion, particularly in digital payments and mobile technology across Asia Pacific. Those initiatives, I realized, weren't just about economic returns. They empowered underserved communities, and they actually helped stimulate sustainable economic growth. And it was then that it became clear to me, profit and impact are not mutually exclusive. They can be mutually reinforcing when investments are structured with long-term value creation in mind.
And then, many still see investing as purely profit-driven. So how do you shift this perspective when working with businesses and other investors as well?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I tend to approach this mindset shift, or at least I try to get them to make this paradigm shift by focusing on impact investment as a strategy that enhances financial returns, not dilute it. And you know how investors tend to respond better to data-driven evidence, right? So I highlight instances where impact-driven investments have outperformed traditional ones, mainly because of factors like risk mitigation and brand loyalty, and sometimes even regulatory incentives. And I also, where relevant, emphasize long-term sustainability because what I've found is businesses that prioritize ESG factors, they tend to be more resilient to economic downturns. And there is data to prove this. So by aligning impact goals with financial incentives, investors begin to see how integrating social responsibility isn't just about ethics. It's just a smarter business decision.
That's an interesting one. I mean, could you define, what impact investing really is to you?
I would like to answer that with an example. When I was involved in financial inclusion related projects, right? I was also very focused on driving digital financial literacy. And, it was related to mobile payment adoption. But I also saw how that particular project, which was actually aimed at women entrepreneurs, that were very, very unbanked and underserved. I also saw for myself how that particular project far exceeded expectations. Not only did it drive financial inclusion, it also spurred economic growth. And it reduced reliance on predatory practices. And it even led to policy changes that supported financial education on a national level. Now, that was a defining moment for me. So that, for me, is the benchmark. When I think about impact investment, I think about the impact that such projects make on communities, on lives, and how they add value. So I always refer to that particular benchmark because that, for me, is my lived experience. And from the investor's standpoint, that particular initiative actually drove very strong returns. And it helped create a very robust financial ecosystem in that particular community. So nowadays, when I think about impact investment, I think about how these investments can scale in ways that actually benefit both people and profits.
I see. And it's all about mindset you mentioned. And what do you think is one mindset shift you believe every leader should embrace to create that meaningful impact in our business?
I love that question. And for me, there is just one thing that leaders should start doing immediately. Shift from that scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Too often, leadership decisions are driven by fear. Fear of competition, fear of losing control, fear of losing out, or fear of change. But then the most impactful leaders recognize that it's collaboration, innovation, and shared value that create greater and more sustainable success. It's not short-term zero-sum thinking. So an abundance mindset actually helps encourage leaders to see challenges as opportunities. So when we invest in people's growth and we build ecosystems where everyone benefits, this helps foster long-term impact. It helps build resilience, and it helps put in place a culture of continuous improvement. So it's not about a belief that when you gain, it's at somebody else's expense. It's actually belief that there are enough resources and opportunities and successes to go around. It's not a zero-sum game.
And what is one powerful lesson you've learned about resilience in leadership? And how can we build resilience in leadership? As you know, there are good times, there are also bad times, and sometimes the bad times just stretch. And now you've got post-COVID issues as well, and this investment winters, and startups are not doing so well. How can we then build resilience such that businesses can be sustainable in the long run? Yeah,
very true. But then again, resilience it's not about not ever falling down, is it? It's not about not ever failing. It's about how quickly and effectively you rise up again and bounce back after falling down, after failing, after going through challenging episodes. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that resilient leaders don't just endure setbacks, they adapt, they learn, and they grow from those lessons. And there is also some level of self-awareness and agility that comes with it. The ability to acknowledge that the failure, if you want to call it failure, I prefer to term it as learning experiences, acknowledge that episode, that experience without internalizing it, and then have the courage to pivot as necessary. It's also about leading with authenticity. We need to acknowledge our own vulnerabilities, and our ability to do that actually helps foster trust, and it helps inspire our teams to embrace challenges together with us with a very solutions-driven mindset. So to me, that is what resilience in leadership is all about.
And how can we build that? How can we make sure that when we face burnout and stress, we're able to approach it well, so that there's balance in our well-being to drive and continuously drive the business growth and transformation?
So you see, well-being is actually not a luxury; it's a strategic necessity, isn't it? Especially if you're going for sustained leadership excellence. So that's how I ensure that my work aligns with my purpose, my passion. My energy management, to me, is more important than time management. So I tend to prioritize recovery as much as performance. Elite athletes do this all the time. So leaders must also factor in recovery time. And how can we do this? Mindfulness, deep work, balanced with creative pursuits. That works for me. That's how I sustain myself. And I think many leaders burn out also because we try to do everything by ourselves, right? I mean, perhaps it's a trust-related issue, but then true leadership involves trusting and developing your teams, isn't it, to share responsibilities. And why wait for that time in your calendar for that extended vacation? Why not integrate daily well-being habits into your routine? Take short walks, do gratitude reflections, do mental resets. Those small steps can actually help us maintain balance in our lives while we make those high-stake decisions in our professional lives. Ultimately, I think leaders who cultivate well-being in themselves help prevent burnout, not just in themselves, but they also inspire their teams to be healthier and then more engaged. I also tend to use flow a lot. So flow, yes, FLOW, flow. It refers to this optimal state of performance, when you are fully immersed in what you're doing, and that keeps you energized on the activity. So in leadership, I think achieving flow is very essential. It helps you balance your performance. And when we talk about peak performance without burnout, right? When you are in flow, actually, it helps you attain greater clarity, and it's actually driven by intrinsic motivation. So that is very fulfilling. It's not exhausting. It helps you with better decision making. You're more agile, you're more strategic in your thinking. And it also contributes towards resilience and adaptability. And flow is not nuclear science. It can actually be incorporated into our daily activities quite easily. I tend to use strength-based approaches a lot, and that's a positive psychology approach. That's when we match our strengths with high-impact work and we delegate what drains our energy to others, right? And there is this thing called challenge skill balance that helps with flow. It means when you are engaged in a challenge that slightly exceeds your skill level, that actually creates an engaging stretch. And that helps keep you from feeling overwhelmed, yet motivated. And it also helps avoid boredom. And for me, I find that eliminating distractions helps a lot because flow is also about deep, uninterrupted work. But it also needs to be balanced with recovery. It's so balancing intense focus with deliberate rest. So that actually helps balance your mental and emotional energy that you require for flow. But being in flow actually helps just about anybody give your very best to any task that you're at. So I like to talk about it, and I hope more of us can learn how to incorporate it into our daily lives.
Well, thanks for sharing about flow. I think that's an interesting technique there that we should learn how to optimize our performance. And you mentioned about recovery work, being conscious about that, because many times we just move forward, right? Move on to the next thing, and next thing.
Correct.
We don't really, think too much about the past already.
It's true. I think we're all governed by our to-do list.
Correct. And beyond financial investments, what are some?
And so then we lose focus of what's really important and how we can give our best.
Right. And beyond financial investments, what are some of the key factors you think are important in fostering long-term business success in the business? Yeah.
Right. So financial investment is just one part of the puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tend to think that there are three other critical factors involved. Capacity building and education. I say this because of my lived experience and the background that I come from. I actually believe long-term success happens when communities and businesses are equipped with skills, knowledge, resources. And each of these entities must learn to thrive independently. And this may involve financial literacy, leadership development, and entrepreneurial training. I think for organizations especially, leadership development is key. Leadership development drives employee engagement. Employee engagement drives profits. It's as simple as that. And when you bring it to the next level, the ecosystem, we need to put into place systems and processes that can help build collaborative ecosystems across the board. Because I think real impact is achieved when businesses, government, and local communities work together. These type of cross-partnerships can create very sustainable solutions that are resilient in the long term. And deliberately build purpose-driven culture, because when we align growth with social impact, I think that is more sustainable in the long term. When people see their work as being meaningful and contributing to real value beyond just profits, I think they tend to be more ready to invest in long-term success.
Right. And if someone listening today wants to make a difference, whether in business, leadership, or community development, what would be your advice as a first step that they should take?
I think the first step is to start with where you are, what you have. Take action. Many of us wait for the perfect moment, or we believe we need more experience, more money, more influence. But in reality, impact starts with us, self-reflection first. I think it's important to identify what matters most to us, what makes us click, what problem, what opportunity excites us. Impact is sustainable when it's aligned to our values. And then take small, consistent action steps. Change doesn't require grand gestures.
Right.
It starts with small, meaningful actions. Whether you're into mentoring or advocacy work for change or launching an initiative, start where you have experience, where you have influence today. And then build the right network. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, collaborate. Collaborate accelerates impact. No leader creates change alone.
Right. Do it collectively with the community. And if you could share one inspirational quote or a word of advice to our audience to inspire them, what would that be?
A Native American proverb comes to mind. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. So the underlying message is leadership in sustainability is not about short-term wins. It's about creating a future we can be proud of. Whether you're in business, whether you are into policy or grassroots initiatives, your leadership today shapes tomorrow's legacy. You don't need permission to lead, just a commitment to take responsibility and inspire others along the way. That would be my take on the matter.
Thank you so much, Manjit. I hope all of you have enjoyed the session today. And if you like more of such, do follow us for more updates. Thank you.